Apple leakers unironically leak Tim Cook's Please Stop Leaking Stuff memo, and Steam gets ARM64 support for native Apple Silicon gaming. I'm Mark David, and I simplify Apple so that everything just works for you. And here is the memo that Tim Cook basically sent out to all of his staff to ask everyone to stop leaking stuff, which has obviously already been leaked to us. Exciting times. Dear team, it was great to connect with you at the Global Employee Meeting on Friday. There was so much to celebrate, from our remarkable new product lineup to our values-driven work around climate change, racial equality and privacy. It was a good opportunity to reflect on our many accomplishments and to have a discussion about what's been on your mind. I'm writing today because I've heard from so many of you were incredibly frustrated to see the contents of the meeting leaked to reporters. This comes after a product launch in which most of the details of our announcements were also leaked to the press. I want you to know that I share your frustration. These opportunities to connect as a team are really important, but they only work if we can trust that the content will stay within Apple. I want to reassure you that we're doing everything in our power to identify those who leaked. As you know, we do not tolerate disclosures of confidential information, whether it's product IP or the details of a confidential meeting. We know that the leakers constitute a small number of people. We also know that people who leak confidential information do not belong here. As we look forward, I want to thank you for all you've done to make our product a reality and all you will do to get them into customers' hands. Yesterday we released iOS 15, iPadOS 15 and watchOS 8, and Friday marks the moment when we share some of our incredible new products with the world. There's nothing better than that. We'll continue to measure our contributions to the lives we change, the connections we foster, and the work that we do to leave the world a better place. Thank you, Tim. So I decided against doing the accent for this one because there was a lot to read. But I do think it's just fascinating that this memo about how awful leaks are has immediately leaked. It tastes so sweet. And it is a bit sad. And I am interested in what will happen if there's no leaks, if there's much reduced leaks, Is that a good thing or a bad thing for the community? I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it down in the comments. I think the event that we just had was actually quite interesting because there was stuff that surprised us. There was also stuff that was missing that we thought there might be. There was an Apple Watch that didn't look anything like we thought it would. I think all of these things kind of make it more interesting. If everything got leaked and then we just went to the event and knew what we were seeing, that would be no fun. But I do like to have a little tidbit here and there. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy that side of things. But next up, Apple Silicon Gaming coming to the Mac. Valve has updated Steamworks so that finally ARM64 games can be uploaded natively to Steam, meaning multiplayer, frame counters and more from the Steam catalogue. Now, this also means that native Apple Silicon games can be distributed and launched through the main Steam client, even though that client itself is still x86 based running through Rosetta. But what does this all mean? Well, it means a much bigger market now for game developers to ship their Apple Silicon native versions, even though right now there are only actually 3 games that are properly taking advantage of this, but the updates to Steamworks only came about a week ago on September the 15th, so we will try to keep track of the updates over there. Although on the same day, yesterday, EVE Online announced their Apple Silicon native version that is now running on their publicly accessible Singularity server, and will soon be coming to the Tranquility server, which is the huge one that everyone else plays on. So there seems to be a lot happening right now, and interestingly it's just a few weeks before Apple is expected to announce the M1X platform for the MacBook Pro and potentially the Mac Mini. A coincidence? Again, yes, possibly, but why not make a news story out of a coincidence when you have the chance? That being said though, the power in the M1X is going to be just insane in comparison to everything else that we've been hearing about. It's basically going to double the CPU performance of the M1 and more than that on the graphics side, which is just crazy talk. And literally as I'm recording this, my iPad has just pinged up, and over on Twitter, I don't have any details on this, but I would guess we'll be talking about this in more detail tomorrow. Apple's iPhone 14 may be the first to adopt 3nm plus TSMC's 3D Fabric platform. This is coming through Patently Apple. It is like 9:30 at the moment when I'm recording this, so very interesting. Some more stuff to talk about tomorrow. But for now, let's get into your iCave answers and let me know what games you would really like to see on Apple Silicon as soon as possible. First up, Evan Rogers asks, yada yada yada, this is an Apple channel, but iCave answers. Thoughts on the new Microsoft lineup, especially the Surface Laptop Studio? Will it be a legit sales threat to the M1X MacBook Pros? Base is 1600 and gets an i5 11th gen with internal graphics, topping out at a $2100 i7 with an RTX 3050 Ti. The form factor is mostly novelty in my opinion. I can attest from owning a HP Spectre Folio. So yeah, I watched some of the stuff from Microsoft. It was kind of on in the background because I really don't care that much. But the Surface Duo that they've got, the little fold-out kind of phone tablet thing that's just got two screens instead of actually trying to put a hinge one in there, I actually kind of prefer that to a lot of the folding screens right now. And it has a really funky thing where you can see the inside of the screens through the fold when it's closed, and that's where you get your notifications and stuff. I thought that was kind of nice. The Microsoft Surface laptop studio thing, you know, it's interesting. It's a thick boy when you fold that bugger up. I don't think it's going to have too much impact on the MacBooks, because people that want a Mac want a Mac. People that really want Windows will probably put up with it being really hot and have poor battery life, but we will see. But I think the reason they've had to make it a thick boy is so that they can actually cool it and give it enough battery to actually last long enough to do anything. And I would also guess once we see these in action, they will probably drop some performance once you unplug them too, which Apple doesn't tend to do. Next up, James Apple asks, with the EU regulation on forcing Apple to go to USB-C on the iPhone, would their timeline going to portless have changed, or give us Lightning 2 to beat the court case of this law coming into effect? So I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about this law, about people think that they're going to have to get rid of Lightning. That's not the case. It's what goes into the charger. The chargers are the things being regulated, and they already have USB-C on them. So Apple is already complying. There's not a thing where the device itself needs to have a different cable. This is about reducing charger waste, not about cables. So I don't think we need to worry too much about that. Randomness R asks, iCave answers, hey boss, I'm so excited for the AirPods 3. I really hope you get that right, that they're announced on the 28th. I got my cash ready. I'm also looking to get my first Apple Watch Series 7. That green looks amazing. Any idea when Apple will be shipping them? Dankeschön. Cheers. So I don't think Apple knows when they're going to be shipping them just yet. My best guess would be that at the October 12th event, they will announce what day they are going on sale, and I would guess it's probably a week after the event. So that gives them about a month or so of actual production. I think we are going to see a bit of a staggered launch. I think we're going to see the aluminium models first, then we'll see the titaniums and things like that coming down the line. The same with the stainless steel ones, because I bet that making the sapphire glass versions of that dome probably takes a little bit longer than the Ion X stuff. So that's my expectation. However, I would say that if you can find a Series 6 or an Apple Watch SE that is slightly discounted because of the 7 coming out, you will probably find that that is a better deal, because there are very few changes to the Series 7 in terms of performance, in terms of features. It charges a little bit quicker. If that's enough for you, then you go right ahead. Bruce Grab asks, iCave answers, given that Apple is moving away from USB-A, why did they include it in the Mini rather than going full USB-C and including 2 of their USB-C to USB adapters with the units? I think the main thing is tidiness, and the big reason that the Mac Minis still have USB-A as opposed to just pure USB-C like everything else is that it is designed to be used with whatever keyboard, mouse and display you already have. That's why it also has HDMI port on the back, and always kind of has, because the Mac Mini is designed to be something that you can kind of remove a PC from and plonk this in its place. Then you can plug in your mouse and keyboard, and a lot of displays obviously use HDMI. It just makes it a super easy way for people to get started. Whereas all of the other Macs that you can buy basically come with a Bluetooth keyboard, mouse, or built in with the laptops. So that's the main reason that they still have USB-A, and that's the reason that we still expect USB-A to feature on the new Mac Minis too. L Christian 771 asks, iCave answers, will Universal Control replace Sidecar in macOS Monterey, or will you still be able to use Sidecar? And that is a really good question. I've been using macOS Monterey for quite some time on this setup over here, and I hadn't even checked if it was still there. Turns out Sidecar does still exist, as well as Universal Control that's going to be coming, because I think it's going to be used a lot less by people. I don't think as many people are going to use Sidecar if you can just grab the files from your iPad. But there is certainly going to be situations where people will want to be able to extend a desktop, be able to access their mail, for example. Like, being able to take your iPad with you and have it as a secondary display is really helpful, especially if you're traveling, if you've got a MacBook and you want to be able to have a temporary second screen, maybe to throw your emails on, or if you're editing a video, being able to just grab your files from there, you know, keeping your video files on there, or if you're doing image editing, being able to keep everything open on there so that you've got full screen available for Photoshop or Aperture or whatever you happen to be using. Aperture is a bit old, probably not that, but you know what I'm trying to say here. So I think it's great as an additional screen for stuff that you use occasionally, but it's really handy to have it there as opposed to being used as a full-on secondary display. Universal control, however, is going to be pretty mind-blowing, being able to just use it there and just use it as an iPad still and just grab files from your iPad, drop them onto your Mac, drop them into a presentation that you're putting together. It's just amazing, the stuff that's going on. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. Leave a like before you go. If you've got this far, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.